research process where we're given an amount of time and said, okay, ZooXXI is something that involves animals, technology, and the city. Go, research, explore, invent a prototype. So we started playing around with concepts and came up with the vision of ZooXXI as this intermediary between human development and nature. So ZooXXI will get in the middle and mediate the human relations with nature in order to bring stability to the relationship.
Emotic is a very interesting company here in Barcelona because they deliver pure multimedia solutions that are based on low-cost peripherals.
They sell experience to the people.
We started an exhaustive resource gathering online. In terms of physical research, we went to zoos, went to museums, went to science centers, went to markets. We wanted to see how people interact with each other, how people interact with animals, how people interact with science, with interactive exhibits. So we sort of attacked the problem of animal interaction from a lot of different angles.
I think it's important they investigate some interesting places, typical places or cultural places here more than other things.
It was difficult even for the client to know what had to be cooked, and that affected somehow the students because they had to tackle something that had not a very clear framework from the very beginning. So I guess that they started doing a lot of brainstorming, a lot of research, and they provided with several concepts. But at the end we saw that what the client was especially interested in wasn't in like building something physical that has been done, but in providing with a lot of ideas and thoughts.
And it turns out that our process actually helped define what ZooXXI is.
So in terms of that, we think that the client's absolutely happy.
Sort of move on to this iterative prototype stage. We would develop one prototype, concept it, prototype it, and present it to the client. The client would sort of give us feedback on that prototype and usually ask us to either build on it or explore a different direction. We did this for a number of prototypes, so we came out with a prototype we called an interactive ecosystem. We came out with an interactive version of the story of animals and their relationship to humans. We came out with an animal point of view idea, where guests would have this confrontation with a 3D animal that was being controlled on the other side of the wall by another guest looking through a webcam. We had an accelerometer with which guests could control a webcam. The guest that was controlling the accelerometer could, in a way, look through the animal's eyes.
The ETC team is delivering a complete set of concepts, some of them more developed, some of them more in paper, and even one real construction. There's one physical interactive installation working.
And so with all these prototypes we sort of struck the wild look at animals idea, and we finally developed one we called the eye wall, where guests would be able to interact with this giant wall of animal eyes. This slowly developed into our final idea. So we had, first of all, an infrared camera mounted to the ceiling which would detect light movement. We also had an interactive video at the beginning of the exhibit, which guests could type the answer to the question, why look at animals? And the video would start based on motion sensor technology. So their answer that were given to the video linked to a database, which was also linked both to a website and to a Twitter feed. Why look at animals? I remember very clearly how, coming back from one of the research trips, part of the team was retelling how they had this confrontation with animals. It wasn't a violent confrontation, it wasn't a bad confrontation, it was the best kind of confrontation possible. They would just be there in the space, in the same space as the animals, and all of a sudden they became aware that the animal was aware in turn that they were there. And this sort of realization of coexistence was magical for them. We decided we're going to put together an installation where people can actually confront the animals and look at them and have them look back, and they can reflect on why they looked at animals and why and if animals actually look back at them.
Humans have always had a strong desire to look at animals. With conservation, ecology, and technology becoming more important in our daily lives, how will we look at animals in the future? To begin to answer that, we need to know why we look at animals. Why is it important to us? And how will these new ways of thinking and new tools help us with this ancient confrontation? So, here's the question. Why do you look at